Today on Soul Strings, we're joined by a creative force from right here in St. Louis. Composer and producer Mark Rogers, along with his brother John. Mark has created something truly unique, an original rock opera based on the life of Nikola Tesla called Nikola Tesla Light It Up. This powerful production blends 13 original songs, a live rock band, and immersive video storytelling to bring Tesla's life to the stage, exploring his inventions, visions, struggles, and legacy in a way that's both cinematic and electrifying. The world premiere is happening June 20th at Delmar Hall in St. Louis, and it promises to be an unforgettable night of music, storytelling, and inspiration. Mark, welcome to Soul Strings, buddy.
I am thrilled to be here, Gardner. You said it exactly like I told you to do it. You didn't leave
Glad I didn't
anything
mess
out.
it up.
You did great. You did great.
I'm glad I didn't mess it up. You know what? There's so many questions I have for you because this is something that, I didn't know anything about, and I'm really into like Broadway productions. I love all types of music. I grew up in rock bands in the 80s. I sang in rock bands in the 80s. And the production side of it was always something that was so important to me. And even, I owned a karaoke company for 30 years and a DJ company, and everything was about production. And that I did such big productions that it even led to doing MMA fight productions and things like that. So, and when I go to concerts, it's all about, the feel, the experience that you feel that you get to live while you're watching this production. And so just from what I've seen so far, I can't wait to talk to you about this, and I can't wait to find out more. First of all, what inspired you and your brother to tell the story of Nikola Tesla through a rock opera?
Well, I know you can tell my highness, we've been involved with the Da Vinci Michelangelo experience for over 12 years. It was a theater production that I developed out of the Da Vinci Machines exhibition that was over here from Florence, Italy, in 2011. It was all these machines of Da Vinci and so on. But every time I had to go someplace, I wanted to tell the Da Vinci Michelangelo story, I had to bring 2 tractor trailer loads with me of the exhibition with. And I thought, well, this is certainly not going to work. So we actually got on to give these incredible tours at the exhibition. And I actually got everything about Da Vinci Michelangelo that I wanted down into a PC. Our show goes through 146 pieces of individual media and videos and pictures and animations. And when I put that together, I actually had a theater show out of it. And so we actually traveled around the entire country. Actually, we traveled all over the world during the show the last 10 years. We ran off Broadway for over 100 shows. We were in the St. Luke's Theater, and we ended up there. Then COVID hit, and then we came back to the Soho Playhouse. And during this whole process, I always wanted to come out with nothing. It was because nobody knew about Da Vinci Michelangelo, that they were contemporaries. They hated each other. They couldn't stand to be in the same room with each other. And it was so such. I said, man, I want to do something else. And I've been a musician my whole life, and I was up on Broadway. And I said, it's got to be a musical, number one. But number two, I thought, I started looking about Tesla and Edison, because that was a huge conflict between them in their life. And the more I dug into it, Gordon, I gotta be honest. This Edison guy was not a nice guy. He and Edison, Tesla and Edison hated each other, and he began to work for him, and that they were oil and water. And then I began looking into it. I said, you know what? I'm really not that excited to do a Tesla Edison thing. But the more I found out about Tesla, it was just unbelievable. He is truly, and I'm not joking, when the history is written, it's going to go down that he is the Leonardo da Vinci of the 20th century. I mean, you cannot believe what this guy invented. And so we started to put together. I've been working on it for 4 years. So then I started to put the music together. Do you know how to write a musical or play? First of all, you got to want to. So I started reading all these books about Tesla, and I think I know now, which I think is almost impossible, that I know more about Tesla than I know about Edison. Than Da Vinci. That's even possible. And the more that came out, it became more frustrating. And I said, I want to tell the story of his life. And every time that you walk over and you turn on a light switch, you walk out the door and you see a neon light up. That he predicted cell phone and instantaneous communication. So the more that I told you, I was just so excited. I said, this has got to be the story.
That's crazy. So you kind of said something that I was going to ask you, And that was, how long is the process for something like this to take place? So, I mean, when you first get an idea of who you want to do and how you want to present this, how long is this process take? You said 4 years you were thinking
It's been
about
taking me.
this.
It's when I add it all up, it's been 4. I mean, it's been of of obviously understanding his story and understanding his life, and I wanted to tell it in the right way. I know a lot of these shows are now on TV, and they say, well, no, that didn't go that way. That they made that up for television, or they made that up, and I did not want that. I wanted to be historically accurate, but I wanted to show his human side. I wanted to show his personal connection. And the neatest thing I found out about Tesla was, you know where his genius came from?
No.
His mother, Georgina.
Wow.
She was an inventor around the house. And she had almost, we don't call it a photographic memory, but she could hear something once. And over in Serbia, where they were brought up, all the story was, nothing was written down at the time. So everything had to be memorized and learned or whatever. She learned, she invented farm tools. She invented little things around the gadgets around the house. And Tesla, I'm actually credited his mother for later life, because the reason I'm here because of my mother, Georgina. And it's amazing. And actually in the Rockabye, I said, well, that has to be the opening song. And so we have this incredible, I mean, the Jason Nelson Band, who's, I don't know people familiar with him in St. Louis, but you will be when you come to the show. He's an incredible, and his whole band, and she had this incredible band, and this a girl singer, this woman singer, and that's the first opening song of the rock opera, is Born Tesla, and I give 100%. She was truly the hand that rocked the cradle.
So how did you go about finding Jason and his band to do this
Oh,
with you?
is that a great story? I thought, because I've been a musician here in St. Louis my whole life. I played out a lot of places, and I had a jazz band many years ago, and everything. And I thought, well, actually, to kind of before that, it was going to be a musical, because it was going to be a musical, and that's what I really wanted to do. And so I sent it out to I have 2 of my great friends that I've known forever. One is CBS, his name is Paul Friedman. The other one is actually number 3 or 4 at Disney. He's an incredible gentleman. And I sent out some of the songs to him. I said, listen, I'm doing this musical. And Paul calls me back from CBS, and he says, Mark, I got something I got to tell you. He says, you're never going to make this into a musical. And I said, it's so expensive. I mean, you need millions to put on music. Sting, who we know and love, he put on a musical 2.5 years ago called The Last Ship. Did you know about this? He spent and lost $15 million like that. In fact, after the show closed in New York, he went on a 2-year worldwide tour just to come and get his money back. In fact, during that year, he came through St. Louis 4 times. He was at the pageant. Remember that? Remember that little when he came through St. Louis 4 times just to get his money back. And I said, yeah, Paul, I don't even know what I'm thinking. He said, but these songs, each one of these songs are standalone. Because usually when you go to a musical, which you can attest to, except for Andrew Lloyd Webber, he's in a different class. But when you go to a musical, they usually, they have one big breakout song, and then they have a couple of fill-in songs, and they got a kind of a good song, a so-so song, and then they have another big one song. So when you go to a musical, they have like maybe 1 song or 2 songs that that really stand out, And Paul called me back, and he said, and I couldn't believe it, because Mark goes, these songs are standard. I said, well, thanks, Paul. I really appreciate you telling me that. He says, you know what you should do? He goes, forget about it. He said, you've got a rock up. And I went, oh my God. Because the kids today don't know. I said, Paul, the kids today don't know what a rock opera is. He says, right. You know what's going to happen? He goes, you're going to tell them. You're going to show them. So anyway, that how it translates. He goes, every musician in St. Louis? I said, of course I do. Well, that gets me. That was a long answer to your story. So I thought, well, am I going to call everybody individually? I need a guitar player here. I need a cello player here. And then I get it all together. So my girlfriend says to me one day, she goes, hey, they got this band playing out at Platinum out in West County. And and everybody says he's really good. And he goes, it's a Queen tribute band. And I said, well, I had actually, to be honest, I'd never heard of it, but there were, there are tribute bands all over the place. In fact, that's funny, a story. When we toured Da Vinci Michelangelo experience in the UK last September. We did 25 shows in 30 days. And every time we showed up to the show, the stage crew had said, "Oh my God, thank God you're not another tribute band. We're sick of tribute bands over here. They got Blondie tribute bands. They've got Engelbert Hubbard tribute bands." I said, "No, we're playing Goza." So anyway, Sherry says, "Let's go out and hear this band and play Queen." So we go out there to this bar, and we're sitting in this bar. The lights go down, and this wall of sound comes from the stage, and Jason Nelson walks out and he commands the room. And I went there and they're blocking the screw song. And I went, "Oh my God, he is fantastic." And she did this. And I looked over to my girlfriend, Sharon, and I said, "You know who he is, don't you?" And Sherry says, "I know exactly who he is." I said, "Who is he?" He says, "He's your Tesla." I said, "You're absolutely right. So we waited till the show ended, and we waited till the kind of crowd cleared up. He was walking around the venue there, and he came walking around. So I walked up. He didn't know who I was, and he walked up and he said, I said, "Hi, Jason. My name's Mark Rogers. You don't know me, but I've been of this Da Vinci Michelangelo experience. All but." I've written a show that is highlighting the life and the humanity of Nikola Tesla. And I said, "And I want you to be Nikola Tesla." And he didn't even stop. He said, "Put me down." He didn't hear one song. I said, "You're in." That was about 6 months ago. And I said, "Okay, I had like about 4 more songs I had to finish." But when they come on, when you show up there on the 20th of June, you are going to see and also we're adding people. We have an 8-piece rock and roll band. We're adding cello, electric violin, and we are going to rock the Domo Hall. I guarantee you.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. I mean, so is there going to be a lot of visuals? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of visuals along with this, with like video screens and things.
Yeah, I'll send you one. We have this incredible videographer. And we're putting it on. The first one's already out. It's on our website. It's called Colorado Cosmic Cowboy, and we're talking about how that all came about. But no, we're going to have. We have videos to play behind each one of the songs that obviously highlight the light and the life of him, and also move the story along. Some of them are very fun. Some are just kind of fun songs. You know what I mean? Some are just like some are kind of just fun songs. But some of them we really like Hiding Inside My Mind was when he beat Edison out for lighting the World's Fair in 1893, and then he was at the absolute top of his game, and that's what the one song "Hiding Inside My Mind" is about. We have a lot, but they try. We have some fun songs. We have Broadway style songs. We've got country song. We've got the whole genre. We've got the whole genre that covers this. So right, there's going to be something in there that you are going to love.
So out of these 13 songs, which one's your favorite? If you could pick a favorite, which one would be your favorite?
I guess the one is the main title theme is "Light It Up," because when I was in all the books, when he was growing up, he actually thought he was sick. He actually thought he was like he'd have these ideas and these hallucinations and and this light inside of his head, and he wrote later, he said, I'd wave my hand in front of my eyes to see what was real if my mind was adrift. What I thought was an affliction turned out to be a gift. And so that began to say, at the end of that song, it says, "Light Up." My daughter loves, I'm the Original Wizard of Oz. I want to talk about that.
I like that one too.
The crazy part about that one is, and I actually kind of uncovered all this during my research. Nikola Tesla won and beat out Edison with his alternating current. He had alternating current. Thomas had direct, and he beat him out to light up the World's Fair, the 1893 Clement Exhibition in Chicago, and which eventually lit the exhibition, which eventually lit the world, as we know. When Tesla himself was in Chicago on that May 1st, 1893, and he personally threw the switch that lit up 200,000 light bulbs at one time. They said it was the greatest display of lighting the history of the world had ever seen. And Thomas Edison, when he didn't get that bid, he was mad as hell. And he was so mad, he refused to sell Tesla and Westinghouse his incandescent bulb that they needed to light the Midway, the Court of Honor. So Tesla and Westinghouse had invented a new light bulb basically overnight called the double stopper light. In fact, they actually had to change out 200,000 light bulbs every night of the World's Fair.
Wow.
Can you imagine that workforce that happened? Well, Nikola Tesla himself was in Chicago on May 1st, 1893, and he personally threw the switch that lit up $200,000 light bulbs at one time. Do you know who was in the crowd that night in the Midway? They called the Court of Honor. Do you know who was in the Midway that night? His name was L. Frank Baum. Okay, I'll put you on the spot. Who is L. Frank?
Wizard of Oz.
Yep,
That's right. The author. Yeah.
And he remembered that night, May 1st, 1893, when Nikola Tesla threw that switch that lit up those 200,000 light bulbs at one time. And when he wrote The Wizard of Oz, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz at the turn of the century, that became his inspiration for the Emerald City. So we can say without fear of any reprisal whatsoever that Nikola Tesla truly is the original Wizard of Oz. And I have a whole song about it.
So I love your passion. I love what comes out of you when you talk about this. So when you start these projects and you start to investigate like Tesla and really read about him, what surprises you the most about that? I mean, I can just see the passion that you get from it, but what is it that surprises you the most?
Well, the actual process kind of gets me going. Some people like to play golf, some like to do that. But the actual process, they get to go and to learn this stuff. Like the one song we have in there is called "Dinner at Delmonico's," and it was really fun. Nikola Tesla would go to Delmonico's, which is the finest restaurant in New York at the time, and he would eat there every night. Every night he would eat there, and he had a whole routine. He had one fork, 2 knives, 2 plates, 9 napkins precisely in place every night. They knew exactly what he wanted. He ordered the same thing the same thing every night. And anyway, when I found that out, and Delmonico's, that you not believe all the recipes that we take for granted that Delmonico's invented. That they invented lobster Newburg, chicken lobster Newburg, baked Alaska, and chicken a la Keem. Now, the great part about it actually, the name of it is chicken a la Keem. And outside of New York, it became known as chicken a la King. And what happened was there was a very famous, very wealthy polo player that would come and eat also at Delmonico's every night. And so they named the dish after him. It was chicken a la Keem, Keeme. So that was the actual name of it. No, I don't know. I find that stuff fascinating. So it's just, so the more that I get into it, I think, I gotta write this down. I gotta write this down. The one time, and also some of his quotes are just blowing. We'll talk about Warncliffe in a minute. But anyway, Warncliffe, he wanted to provide free energy to the world, And Warncliffe with his tower, and when he came in, and J.P. Morgan was his main investor, and J.P. Morgan showed up one side at Warncliffe and looked at this huge tower going up, and he was going to provide. And J.P. Morgan said to him, he said at Tesla, he goes, "Hey, where's the meter on this?" And Tesla said, "No, it's not. There's no meter on it. That's going to be free to the world. We're going to save and help humanity. That's what we're going to do." And J.P. Morgan cut him off immediately. In fact, and the one thing that got me to that story was Tesla always needed more money. I'll tell you about St. Louis too. Tesla always needed more money. And he wrote an impassioned letter to J.P. Morgan when J.P. Morgan cut him off. And he wrote, "To achieve a great result is one thing, but to achieve it at the right time is another." And I thought, what an incredible line. But anyway, Tesla thought 3, 6, and 9 ruled the world, that ruled the universe. In fact, before he went into a hotel or a building, anywhere that he went, he'd walk around it 3 times before he went in. So on the one song on Warncliffe, I wrote 3, 6, 9, living life by the number. To achieve a great result is one. To achieve it at the right time is another. And so it just, when I get that, I guess that's just the nerd in me coming out. I went, wow, you nailed it. You know what I mean? So that keeps me going. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. Tesla was such a misunderstood and even ridiculed in his lifetime. What part of the story
was misunderstood? Everybody just ripped him off. It wasn't misunderstood. Yeah. He was a genius. And the only problem, and the one song they have, Liars, Thieves, Knaves, Highwaymen, and at the end of it, when he realizes it's starting to go south now, and because he always needed the next money. He always needed more money. But the neat part about him was he always had the confidence in himself that he could come up with the next big idea to keep it going. In fact, I'll tell you this, the St. Louis, we have a great connection to Tesla here in St. Louis. He would go on road shows around the country, and he would wear cork shoes, and he would go and he had electric light and electric flying out of him and coming out of his mouth and the other stuff. And he had all these experiments that he put on for the audience. And he actually performed these shows himself. Well, the last one he did was right here in St. Louis at St. Louis Exhibition Hall, which they now torn down as the St. Louis Public Library. And it was right here in St. Louis. And after the show, the people mobbed it. They just wanted to touch it. They just wanted to be close to him. And it kind of freaked him out. He was such a private individual and such an eternal soul. It freaked him out. And that's actually the last one he ever did. The last one he ever did was right here in St. Louis.
Is there a part of his story that resonates most with you personally?
Yes. Well, his mother resonates with me because I had one incredible mother. But also at the very end, there's actually two. The very last, the second last song is called Peace, and he actually, this is an incredible story. He invented a laser beam, a force shield that he was going to give to every country in the world to outlaw war. To make war obsolete, and he was supposed to, and he called it the Teleforce Ray. Does that sound familiar to you? What we're going through now? He actually had that envisioned, and right then, and the night this is. Want to talk conspiracy theories? The night before he was supposed to go over to the White House the next day and present it to the president, I think it was FDR, presented to the president and say, I have this Teleforce Ray that's going to make war obsolete. The thunder of guns will be silenced. The tears of our mothers will cease. And this will make war obsolete. And he died that. They said it was natural causes, but they have no idea. And when they showed up, when his family and the electrical society showed up, all of his drawing, he had boxes and boxes and boxes, right? They were all gone.
Wow. Yeah, that
one resonates the most to me, where we had the one, had the one. But the other one the other one is pretty cool. He never married, but he was actually in love with a woman that was his best friend's wife. But it was a platonic thing. She loved Tesla. She took care of him. She nurtured him, and also her husband loved Tesla too. They loved him, and they took care of him. And when he died, when she died, she almost lost. Anyway, the night that she died, a white dove appeared on his windowsill in the New Yorker hotel on 3327, and he believed it was her, and he stayed with her, and he nurtured her, and she came back and visited him every night. And then he goes, and he said, I knew it was you. And he actually wrote in his notes, he said, I had total communication, and which is one of the coolest. And that was the one song called Present. That's like toward the end, when the dove comes to visit him every night. And so those are my favorite. But Warren Cliff is my favorite. Warren Cliff is my favorite. Light It Up. But there's so many. There's so many. So it's been not only, it's a hard thing to do, to keep all this going up 4 years in theaters, but it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
Out of everything you learned about him, how hard and how difficult was it for you to pick these 13 songs just out of everything you know about him? Was that difficult, or did you want to add more?
I want to add more, but my thing about it is they couldn't be, all the songs couldn't be heavy. You know what I'm saying? We had to have light, we have upbeat in this one, and there's one when I wrote the song about it. It's called Mining Imagination. And that's really kind of a light Broadway comedy number. And I got a number about, I can't believe I'm even talking to this guy. What a jerk, what a pompous ass. He knows everything about everything. And if you don't believe it. And so I wrote this whole thing about, my friend from CBS wrote, he goes, Mark goes, that song is so, you're talking about such a heavy subject, but it is so fun. And I went, yeah, well, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to make it fun. So, I mean, we have fun. We've got rock and roll. We like Broadway. We've got everything. But we have a couple that, really hit the mark.
The production, it combines live music with large screen cinematic visuals. What kind of experience can the audience expect when they walk into Del Mar Hall on the June 20th?
we have a huge amount of experience of doing that with our Da Vinci Michelangelo. The Da Vinci Michelangelo show, when we'd go up, is actually I'm the performer in the Da Vinci Michelangelo show. Can you imagine? But anyway, and behind it, when we go in, we have a 20 by 40 foot screen behind it. And during that show, we go through 146 different pieces of media during that show. So we're expert at doing it. So we have this one, we have it all set up. There's going to be a huge screen behind it. But the one thing about it is I actually had to tone it down a little bit because I did not want to take away anything from Jason and his band. They are so incredible. And I want them to be laser focused. So, well, you'll see, because I'm feeling you put on the show, Put a Colorado Cosmic Cowboy. I mean, it's great. I mean, the visuals are incredible, but I do not want it to overshadow the message and not to overshadow Jason. And
you know what? Let's look at that real quick.
Head west to Denver, south to the Springs, up close to the power source of what only nature brings. With my rope of wire to lasso electric.
Well, that was really cool, Mark. Tell me a little bit about that video. Is this kind of like what we're going to see throughout the night?
Yeah, it's beautiful. The story behind that is kind of amazing. That he wanted to send high-speed transmission from to overseas to Paris, and he wanted to get to the highest point that he could get to in the United States, and that was Pikes Peak. That was out at Colorado Springs. So he journeyed out to Denver and went down to Colorado Springs, and he built this whole workstation where they had these huge the story behind that is, and it would send it up during the lightning storm, and it would capture the lightning. And the one night, in fact, he was producing so much energy, he actually blew all the circuit breakers in Colorado Springs. He actually blew everything in Colorado Springs. And so the one night, and they showed up the next morning, they said, "Don't do that again." So anyway, he goes to talk about energy. So anyway, he got this all lightning. He's capturing the lightning, and in the accounts of it, they actually have some pictures of it. Or they're recreated, and the lightning filled this room, and the lightning just came in, and it was they was creating lightning in this factory. And the problem was he put the kill switch away from the door, so that he had a helper that was there, and it was looking at, and the guy started to yell it out. And he said, "Yeah." He goes, shut it down," and they couldn't get over to the kill switch. So Tesla, he's crawling on the ground on the floor of the warehouse, and he's walking around. And he gets over there, and his clothes are smoking. And he gets out there and he throws the kill switch, which was a bad design. He should have put it closer to the door, and he drags his buddy out, his helper, and his buddy starts beating him up. His buddy starts, "What are you doing? You're trying to kill me. You just trying to kill both of us." And with the guy who's beating up Tesla, he says, wait a minute. And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, He goes, go inside and get the light bulbs." He had these huge light bulbs they had brought out with him from New York. And he brought out these light bulbs, and he walked over, and he literally planted them in the ground, and they lit up. And he knew he had finally harnessed the power of the earth and the nature. I mean, how cool is that?
That is super cool. Yeah. You know,
I get emotional when I talk about it. I
love it. Explain to someone what a rock opera is that has never seen one before. How would you describe the energy of that show?
Okay, that's yeah. Rock opera is a little bit different. It's a lot different than a musical, where there is not actors and storylines talking to each other, where they talk to each other, and they talk to each other, and then they go into a song, and then they go in there. So I guess the best way to describe it is, and actually I'm kind of using it as a model, I don't mind saying, if they pull up Stop Making Sense, but the Talking Heads, or they have it on YouTube, and also they have the original rock opera. They got Tom on the original rock opera, and basically they just went from song to song to song. And then the Tommy one was kind of cool, where they had like major artists come out and sing, like Elton John came out and sang.
Yep. Roger Daltrey played Tommy.
Right. Exactly right. So it's going to follow them. There's not going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of talk. I positioned the songs to where they kind of tell the story, as they go down, and the one friend of mine said, "Hey, man," he goes, those songs are incredible. Because you got to put the words up on the screen. And I said, "It's not a sing along. We're not. This is not a sing along.
Sing along.
This is a rock opera. So it's gonna be fun. So there's gonna be a beginning and a middle and an end to each one of the songs. Hopefully, my vision and hopefully the way I wrote the songs will actually kind of tell the story as we as we go along.
Well, we can't wait to see it. It's going to be June 20th at the Del Mar Hall.
7:30.
And if you look at the bottom, TeslaLightItUp.com, the score, you can go there. You can also get tickets from there, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I got it. Now, also a big hint. You know how these tickets to these venues now are so kind of crazy. I would tell you honest, if they go by the box office at Del Mar Hall on Tuesdays and Fridays, they're open all day. And also, they're open 2 hours before every show at the pageant. And if you buy that, you save all those service fees. So you can save if you go by there, because some of those, you got to admit, some of those service fees are kind of getting a little, a little outrageous. So, but anyway,
I like when they call them convenience fees. It's like,
yes, convenience
for who? You or me?
Yes, right. So if you can work that out and go by and buy it in person, the tickets are only $40. I mean, you're not gonna believe what you're gonna get for $40. That's the A section. I mean, the front section, the middle section's 35, and the back section's 31 or 30. So I mean, we have prices of we have all price categories, and but go by, you save a little bit of money. If you go there, you save a little bit of money if you go by Del Mar Hall box office or before each one of the shows at Del Mar Hall.
Oh well, we can't wait. I appreciate your time today, Mark, and I appreciate your
It's been amazing.
Enthusiasm and your excitement about the show. I can't wait to see it. I've listened to a few tracks on here, and I think you said your daughter likes the
I Am the Original Wizard of Oz.
I Am the Original Wizard of Oz. And that one struck with me too. And the Colorado Cosmic Cowboy. I love that one too. Sorry. I had a little bit of a sinus infection.
They're all on. You can stream them all on our website. You can stream them all.
Yeah, you can go there and stream them. And
I want to get familiar with the songs before they go there. To hear those live is going to be not only a thrill for them, for the audience. It's going to be a thrill for me.
Oh yeah, the recordings are incredible. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. Very nicely done. So I can't wait to see it. Thank you again, Mark Rogers. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on the show today. Tesla, Light It Up.
You're coming now, aren't you? Are you going to come?
Absolutely.
You better be there. Come on by. You know what's going to happen there at Del Mar Hall on the 20th? We are going to light it up.
Mark, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. And just can't thank you enough for being on the show today. This is so exciting. I haven't seen anything like this. And you're a little bit like Tesla yourself. You put something that somebody hasn't thought about before and created it. And it's a beautiful invention.
I want to tell you something to the audience. I've been over on 50 to 100 Zoom calls and all across the world. This is the greatest one I've ever been on. You to be complimented. You have this down like ringing a bell, buddy. This is absolutely this is probably the top Zoom call for our show and for either one of our shows. We've done everything, and you are truly to be complimented.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate that very much. Can't wait to see you, buddy, on June 20th, and look forward to it. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
It was an absolute blast. Thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.